This is my mom and dad, and they're going to tell us a little story about themselves. Go ahead.
Oh, I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm William G. Dunn, born April 27, 1927, the son of John J. Dunn I and
Is that-
Grace H. Dunn, my mother. My mother's maiden name was Hoban. She was the daughter of Julia Hoban and Michael Hoban. And as far as the years go, I don't know.
Did she have any brothers and sisters?
Oh, yes. Brother and sister, John J. Dunn II, Eileen Dunn, Dorothy Dunn, and I don't even know. Was that it? There's only
You-
four of us, me.
Did Grandma and Grandpa have brothers and sisters?
Oh, yeah. My mother had sister Ethel Dernbach, Lucy Hoban, Will Hoban, John Hoban,
Big family.
George Hoban.
Yeah, I never knew that.
There's one more there too. I can't think of who it is. Ethel?
Was that why they named you George in the middle of your name, or you don't know?
Yeah, he was the one who went
Could be.
killed in the First World War. Oh, I can't think of anybody else.
And what about Grandpa Dunn?
You got to tell how you were in the war, too.
Grandpa,
Well.
Grandpa Dunn had a sister, Anna Dunn, brother Eddie Dunn, and I believe his father was Eddie Dunn, but his mother, I don't know the first name. And who else?
I don't know.
Can you think of your grandparents' names?
And I just gave him to you.
No, your grandparents.
That's what he gave.
I just gave him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Julia Hoban, grandmother.
Okay.
Hey, Mary.
Go ahead, now you tell about your family, Mom.
I was born in St. Elizabeth's Hospital on May 17th.
May 17th.
1929. And it's now 1991. Wow, I'm old. But anyway,
Tell me you're going to put up with Social Security.
I don't know how much I weighed. I suppose I was small because I'm not too big now. My mother's name was Mary Irene Schaefer,
They called her.
and they called her Irene, but my father's name was Robert Samuel Henry. There was 5 children in our family. Bob, he died in 1977. Then there's Eleanor, her name's Messersmith. She lives in New Jersey and she had 2 children, a boy and a girl. And then comes me. Should we tell how many kids we got?
Mm-hmm.
We had 5 children. William, George, Jr., Robert Henry. Bill was named after his father. Bob was named after my father. That's why it's Robert Henry. Then there was Mark, Frederick. His middle name being Frederick was named after
Uncle
my
Fred.
husband's uncle, Fred. Then there was Sharon. Sharon Marie. And she married Ralph Crandall, and they have 2 children, Ryan and Brandon. I forgot to tell that the oldest son has 3 daughters. They're Erin, Sarah, and Megan. And Denise
Mary.
Marie is the last child.
Okay. Now what about your
I forgot to tell you
parents
about my
grandparents?
my father had 1 brother, John. He was a school teacher in Proctor High School. He retired earlier than most people. And my father worked up in Revere Copper and Brass. He was a draftsman up there. And he retired. And my mother had one brother, Raymond.
It was small families, huh?
They were small families.
What about your grandparents' names?
My my Uncle Ray had two daughters, Judy and Nancy. And my grandmother was May Morgan. My grandfather was John Schaefer, my mother's mother, her father. And my grandmother lived with us for years, so it was the 5 kids, the grandmother, and the dog.
What was your dog's name?
Peppy.
Okay, what was your dog's name, Dad? And what
Okay.
kind were they?
Jacob the mongrel, and then we
Yeah, he was
had
a mongrel.
Chance, English setter, Pheasant, Irish setter, Danny, Irish setter.
And what'd your dad do? No cow.
We had you named Bridget being ours, yeah. We named our dogs.
Yeah.
And what'd Grandpa Don do, Dad, for a living?
Oh,
He was a
Grandpa Don, first he,
salesman.
Let him tell.
first he worked for a restaurant supplying, delivering condiments to restaurants. Potato chip, pretzels, pickles, pig feet, what else did he eat?
I don't know.
Smoked ham, what have you. Then he went from there, he went into the restaurant business. And run a restaurant right up until he retired in his late 80s.
And he was 89 when he died, wasn't he?
Yeah.
We forgot to say what how many kids Dad's brothers and sisters had.
Oh, boy. Let's see. Eileen was the oldest.
I didn't tell him that
Eileen-
Bob had 5.
Eileen had, what, 5, didn't she, man?
6.
6. Thad, Dick, Mark, Chris, Dorothy, and Delane. And Dorothy Dunn Finnegan had 6. And they were Ann, Paul, Jimmy,
Sheila.
Sheila,
Timmy.
Timmy. And Jim had 10. John Joseph, the third. And he had Kevin, deceased. Jimmy, Christopher, Mary Agnes, Margaret, Susan,
Charlene.
Charlene, and Carol.
Deb and Kathy.
Ted.
Just say
Debbie and Kathy.
You have to count them on the fingers.
Yeah, I know it.
Wow.
And who did we leave out? Any?
I didn't tell him how many kids. I told how
Okay,
many I
go ahead.
Brother Bob had 5 children. One of them was assassinated down in St. Kitts. There was a twin. His name was David, and the twin's Danny. Their kids are Robert and Henry III,
Don.
Donna, Carol, and the twins, David and Danny. And as they say, Eleanor Messersmith, she had 2 children, Jan and Jeannie. And as they say, then came me, and I told you earlier how many children we had.
How about Margaret?
Oh, that's where you
And
stopped, yeah.
then there was
Dito.
Bill. Brother Bill had 3 children. William Henry the Second, and Kathy, and Nancy. And Margaret had 5 children. Margaret Karkowski. Kevin and Michael and Karen and Paul. That's all.
Okay, what about your nationality?
I'm full-blood Irish.
I wish I was. But I'm not. I got part of German and Scotch in me. Father was Scotch. And my mother was Irish and German. So that's how come I'm a mixture.
Now, you said somebody came from Ireland, right?
Not
County
immediate
Cork.
family, no. Maybe my
No.
father's mother came from Mayo, County Mayo, and I think my grandmother's mother came from Kilkenny,
Okay.
Moving
How about,
Games
what
we
jobs?
played.
Well, or, yeah, if you want to start with it, go ahead. Games, if you could think of any games you played.
Yes, I used to always roller skate. About every single night, and I played tennis, and I played roly-poly, and hopscotch. What's that other game?
What's really poly?
What's that other game we played? Oh, gee. Can't remember.
How about you, Pa?
one of the
Played the
popular
knife.
games was Kick the Can.
Oh, kick the can, yes, I
We used to
played
play
that always.
Billy Buck, with a stick, and you hit it like a hockey deal.
What'd you hit? A stick?
A
or-
stick. It was cut down into points on both ends. You hit it, and
What'd you hit though, a ball or a stone?
you hit the stick with the sticks.
Oh,
And then you had
Oh my
Chase.
I never heard of it.
Chase was one where you went and hid somewhere and somebody had to find you. But it was not like hide and seek. It was maybe up in a tree.
Oh, I played hide
or-
and seek.
oh.
Yeah.
I
And
played hide and
then when
seek.
we got older, we went into the hunting and fishing end of it. I had a lot of fun with it, Chase.
Oh, I know, I wish I could think of that other one. They're blind. Maybe it was hide and go seek I'm thinking about.
Did either of you have a favorite brother or sister?
Oh my, even if we did, we wouldn't say anything. I don't think
No.
that's right.
I'm just
No.
asking.
No, I didn't. I always
That's what
tried.
Barbara Wawa would
I
ask.
always tried. I always tried to. I didn't treat any of my children any different than the other one.
What chores did you have to do when you were little that you can remember, if you had to do any? I want to try to do a little bit of life. Dad, do you have any
No.
chores you had to do?
Oh, not designated chores, just, do what your mother asked you to do something, you did it,
Right.
And, yeah, that was about it. Go to the store, go to the shop, walk to the store, pick up stuff.
What about you, Mom?
About the same.
Okay, what about jobs? What jobs did you have when you were young?
I babysat because it would help you out to buy some clothes for yourself.
When I was
Save it up.
15 and 16, I worked for the post office substitute during the wartime, so I got in there. And then when I was 17, went to the Navy, worked for the government, come out, went back to the post office again, worked for them another year or two, and then went for the insurance business. And that's what I've done ever since.
Before I was married, I went to school of commerce and I took up secretarial. I was stenographer at the credit bureau in Utica for about 3 years, I guess, before I was married. Then I did not work after I got married because I had enough work with 5 children. So then I decided about 10 years ago when I was 51, I think it was, I went to work as a hostess at McDonald's. And I'm still there, and I'm 62.
Nice and blue.
Good
Can't
cheek,
cheek,
good cheek, good
good
cheek.
cheek, cool.
Oh, dear.
Where were you born? We forgot that.
We said we were
Utica.
born in Utica. and
Oh,
St.
what
Elizabeth's
street did you live
Hospital.
on? If you can remember.
I always lived in the same house.
I lived on Eagle Street in Utica.
29 Pearl Street, New Hartford, New York.
1013 Eagle Street, Utica.
Oh, that was the only address?
No.
No, then when I got out of service, I lived at 1152 Hilton Inn.
1252.
1252 Hilton Inn.
That's where Dorothy lives now.
Yeah.
Where one of his nieces lives now. Oh, it's hot.
How about your friends' names when you were younger, and if you still have the same friends, or what?
Oh, Christmas. There's a whole bunch of them. Stevie Lynch, Doug O'Hara, Pete Rowser, Hank Pittman, Jimmy McCarthy, and can't think of some of the ones.
What you want that for? What would that
I
have
don't
to
know.
do with it?
But still remain friends with two out of all of them, Hank Cutlets and Pete Rowser.
Oh, Carol and Wells and I, we still, of course, back. We've been friends in school. And Helen Hayes and Phyllis Kassler. Different ones in school. Oh, I was going to mention the fact, which is more important than that to me, is the fact that I played the clarinet.
Oh,
I was in
yes.
a band in high school. And my brother, he played the trumpet. And Eleanor, Margaret, my two sisters, they played the flute. And my father, besides his job at Revere, when
No.
we children were young, my father played with dance bands, and he traveled many, many miles, but he really had to have the second income because of having such a big family. It really helped out. He played the violin and the trombone.
Your mother played the piano.
And my mother was a piano player.
She gave lessons to her.
No,
Oh, I thought you said she did.
well, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. Remember? No, I don't think she did. She was too busy with the family too. I know what you're thinking. She tried to teach us, and it didn't work out.
If you think of things in between, just say them.
No, I can't think of that too much.
How old were you when you got your first car? And then your first bike, if
Oh,
you had a
my.
bike.
One thing we could both mention is when we had the job, when he had his insurance job and the jobs before that too, we had to take the bus. There was nobody in the family that could take you. Where there was only one car. My fathers had to use it. And we didn't have any transportation, only the bus. So I had to take the bus to work and back home again.
Our first car was a 54 Ford Crestline.
You mean your two?
Yeah.
Or your,
Yeah, we didn't have
you
any
never had one
car.
before
I
you
never
got
had
married.
one, no, I never
We
had
didn't
one.
have any cars, what I'm trying to tell them, there was no
No.
money for that. So you
Never
took
knew
the
that.
bus,
Oh, a brand new one?
Yeah.
What color was it?
blue.
Robin's Egg Blue
Mm.
with a dark blue top. It cost $2,400. Never forget that.
Wow.
Oh, that was hard paying.
And that was the top of the line.
Okay, you both lived, there was a depression when you were younger?
I remember it very, very well.
And what year was it?
Oh, let's see. The Depression is in
It's been 20 or 30.
1919, and
Not
it
bad.
carried right through into the 30s.
Was 1919? I never knew that.
No, let's see, 1920, wasn't it?
I was gonna say.
1929? No.
I thought it was 1930.
Well, whatever it was, I know that
33.
the crash was in 29, so it had to be after
Oh,
the
all right.
crash. So I remember my mother sent me to the store and get 25 cents for the round steak cut thin. That fed the whole family. 25 cents.
Jeez.
And there was no jobs, nobody making any money. I
So what
go-
did
I-
everybody have to do?
I go to the show, cost 10 cents. Haircuts were 10 cents. And,
But people didn't have a big income.
no,
It was just as hard then as it is for people today.
man, wore the hand-me-down.
Did you know you were in a depression when you were young?
No, just took it, just way of life. You just live that way. You
No,
know,
she wanted to know if you knew that you were in one. I didn't.
I didn't know, no. I
I
just knew
didn't
things
know.
that I
No,
did.
we wouldn't know any different. We were
Money
too
was
young.
scarce, jobs were scarce.
Be too young. Be like Ryan, maybe.
What'd you
Um,
improvise?
What about your first date? Do you remember your first date? Ever?
I don't think I could, no. But usually, a real date never had, but I mean, we used to go out, you know, you go to some place where the gang hung out, and you met a girl, went with her.
Right. You just didn't.
You didn't
I
see-
don't know. I don't remember.
As far as going, you know, courting or anything, call anybody up going for a date, that's kind of remote.
One thing that's different today is that the dates are made by the girls. Now, in my time, you wouldn't call a fella to make a date with him. You might want to call him, but it just wasn't done. But today, it's entirely different, which I think is much better. And also on the financial end, years ago in our early times, it was always the man would pay for anything. Nowadays, when they go out together, the girl sometimes pays the bill and whatever. It depends on who's got the money at that particular time, which I think is a step forward.
What about, do you remember how you guys met? I didn't
Well,
see-
we knew the different ones, and then we done the dances and all that.
That's about it, you know.
Were either of you in sports when you were younger? Like at school? And what school did you go to?
I went to New Hartford High School. Well, New Hartford grade school and high school.
I went to St. Agnes Grade School in Proctor. I didn't participate in any sports.
And I can't really remember. I was
Down the ants nest.
into some
You found the ants nest.
sports.
You were a cheerleader.
Well, yeah, we had sport things after school that I would go to, basketball and hockey and stuff like that.
What was your favorite meal when you were young, or favorite dessert that your mother would make?
Oh, God, my favorite meal was, how do you say it? Center cut roast pork gravy. Oh, boy, it makes me taste. That was my favorite.
What about dessert?
Dessert, my mother made a beautiful chocolate pie that was out of this world. And my Aunt Ethel used to make butterscotch pie out of
It's
this world.
true.
And they were good.
What about you, Mom?
Mm.
She'll say all of them.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I always liked most anything.
And what about your favorite dessert?
We didn't have too many like desserts. It wasn't a big highlight to be either the ice cream or puddings and things like that. We'd have fruits and stuff for dessert. Canned peaches and pears and stuff like that.
What about, you said that when you were younger, you said something that you didn't have pizza back then?
Oh no, always said it's a good thing I didn't know about it. Because I would have been eating it a lot more than what I do.
Do you remember?
I didn't know what it was. Girls I worked with would talk about going out and having pizza.
Well, when you found out,
And once I found out, wow.
could live on that.
Mhm.
I was just gonna ask something else and I forgot. What about when you got married and where and who was in your wedding party?
Oh, dear We got married in June 14th, 1952 at St. John the Evangelist Church in Hartford.
Reception was at
Reception
Twin
was
Pines.
at Twin Pines. And,
My brother was
best man.
best man. And the maid man was,
Well, Eleanor was supposed to be, she was expecting Jackie. So Dorothy Carr, I think, was, or was it Margaret? That's terrible. She
no,
has-
Dorothy Clare.
And also, my sister Margaret was in it, and Phyllis Kessler was in it. Her name was Shaw.
Tommy Evans was in it.
Tommy Evans was in it, and her brother Bill was in
Yeah,
it.
brother Bill.
Now we better keep talking with that.
I know, how about, wasn't, what was Brother Bob? Was he doing something with the discussion?
No, I don't think so. But maybe else. Should hurry up and end this.
Okay.
I'd
Okay,
never
there,
get
what's
it.
going on?
I'll do a close-up on you two and you can smile at the camera.
Okay.
Okay, now, where did we leave off? What was I asking you about? Your marriage? Or did you say
Yeah.
everything
We
about
said
it?
we
Yeah,
said that.
we just finished that. We're,
That's about all we could think of.
you know, when we were
Anything
married.
else about your,
Where did you live when you got married?
Well,
Did you
Dad,
say that?
Well, we lived on Richardson Ave, our first apartment, then we moved to Jordan Road in New Hartford. And then
and
to
we
the house
bought our
we're in now.
home in 1956, June 1956.
And where do you live now?
80 Harvard Terrace, New Hartford, New York.
just seeing if you remember.
Gee whiz.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I'm all done, I want you to.
Oh, I can't really think of anything. Well, Dad, you do enjoy the insurance business. You didn't tell them you're in a business which was owned by your uncle
Right.
and then operated by you and your brother. And your
And it's
brother
called-
died in August 1990. And we are now buying his
We
share.
bought the business before he died,
Well, just ahead of him dying, we bought the insurance business.
his share.
And we both intend to be working
Snowbirds.
as long as our health. One ambition that might be nice in the future would be, when we do retire, would be nice to be able to go maybe and rent a trailer or something in Florida
For the winter months.
for the winter months, because we really don't like the cold, but that's something that is different than from when we were growing up and when our own children were growing up. Now we don't seem to have the amount of snow in the winters.
We don't have nowhere near the snow we used to have.
No, we don't.
What about,
And the
we
last
don't
thing,
really
what about
have
the
hot-
address of the business?
On the other hand, we don't have the hot summers either, really,
Not like
like
we
we
used
do when we were children. You couldn't play, it would be so warm. We'd have to sit, I can remember sitting under the apple tree on the people's property next door
And they
to
used to
us.
holler to us, don't sit under the apple tree.